My name is Paul Graber. I am the head instructor and founder of Shaolin Arts. ARTS is an acronym, stands for Adapted Realistic Technique. After I had some experience training in Shaolin Do, Chinese martial arts here in Louisville, Kentucky, I had noticed that I had achieved a significant amount of benefits as far as strength, coordination improvement, balance, confidence. I was able to defend myself. All over mental, physical, and emotional benefits were just almost too many to list. And I started thinking that there were other people, since I have cerebral palsy myself, in the disabled community that could possibly benefit from the things that I had achieved. And once I achieved the rank of black belt, I felt confident enough to where I was able to instruct others. And with the blessing of my instructors, that's when I founded Sholin Arts. Similar to a bench press. As you see, I've got my arm locked here in tight to my body. I'm gonna press straight up, keeping everything. 14 years ago, through one of my Shaolin Do instructors, I had the honor and pleasure of meeting Steve Cotter. He is a kettlebell instructor and one of the pioneers of the sport. He's also the founder and head of the International Kettlebell and Fitness Federation. I became a certified kettlebell teacher through him, and I used kettlebells and kettlebell techniques and other Qigong techniques that I learned from Steve in conjunction with my martial arts training to help my clients.
My name is Moises Alcazar. I first actually got in contact with him through one of our buddies, Michael. And he got me in contact, gave me all the information I needed, and just hit up Paul. For me, my goals are just maintaining my health, keeping my strength, and overall just having the ability to defend myself. Since I've always watched a lot of Kung Fu movies, that's one of my biggest motivators. Just like how Kung Fu is, just the way it flows and it's all graceful. But a lot of the hidden aspects, like the internal part of it, really interest me a lot. Paul's training in general, I just feel that over time it's built more confidence in me, giving me little bits of progression, just step by step. And it's those little wins that matter to me the most.
I never really did martial arts as a child. In fact, with cerebral palsy, I was actually forced, due to the nature of my disability, to have physical therapy sessions and surgeries and things of that nature. So, as you might expect, being a kid, I rebelled against those things. I didn't want to do my exercises. I didn't want to go to therapy because it was uncomfortable, it was painful, it hurt. It was not fun, it was boring. So of course, I fought my mom tooth and nail on all of that. Well, fast forward a few years, even though I spent all of my childhood and teenage years watching everything on Kung Fu I could find, reading everything on martial arts I could find. If I went to school with somebody who did karate, if they had an uncle or brother that did karate, Kung Fu, whatever, I was picking their brain, but I still never trained. Well, I was about 21, 22 years old, and I found myself very overweight. And I had been warned back there again, mom trying to do the right thing, telling me not to gain weight and to try to stay in shape, and had even been warned by my orthopedic doctor that gaining weight would interfere and worsen my cerebral palsy and hinder my ability to walk even further. At the age of 22, I found myself predominantly overweight, very out of shape, and I really was starting to have trouble moving around. I was starting to get out of breath. I just decided, I was smoking about a pack a day, and I just woke up one day and just decided, no, I'm done. And I started bench pressing, started hitting the heavy bag, and started doing things like that. And, changed up my diet a little bit, quit smoking. And a year later is when I started Shaolin Do Chinese martial arts here in Louisville, and met my first instructor, Master John Price, and explained to him the goals that I had, because due to an incident that happened in high school with attempting to help a friend of mine who was being assaulted, I ended up being on the receiving end of a pretty decent beating. And decided that I didn't want that to ever happen again, and decided that cerebral palsy or not, disability or not, it really didn't matter, that if I was going to pursue any sort of martial art, be it kung fu, karate, whatever, I wanted to learn how to fight. Now, before I go on with my Shaolin Do training story, I do want to backtrack and talk about the first martial art that I went to try out. My friend and I, Damon, had been watching a lot of Steven Seagal movies. As some of you may know, Steven Seagal practices Aikido. Well, one of the things we noticed about Steven Seagal and Aikido was that there wasn't a whole lot of kicks involved, because due to the nature of my disability, cerebral palsy, I can walk, but I can't kick. So we thought that would be a great idea. Well, we went to the Louisville Aikido school here, and the instructor there was brutally honest, and I really appreciate that. And the reason I bring this up is I hope that any martial arts instructor that happens to see this, who has a disabled student, if you cannot work with them, or you do not feel like you're able to work with them, please be honest, because that's exactly what this instructor did. He straight up told me, I do not think I am able to help you, because all of the techniques in Aikido are based in hip strength and hip flexibility and hip movement. And everything that I can see from your disability shows me that your hips are not flexible and that you don't have very good mobility through your hips. And he was right, I don't. You know, I have almost no space between my legs when I stand, and my hips are very, very stiff, and I don't have very much flexibility as far as being able to spread. He was just right. And he told me he couldn't train me. And he at first thought that I was gonna be insulted, or that my feelings were gonna be hurt. And in fact, that was quite the opposite. I appreciated his honesty and his forthrightness, rather than being willing to say, okay, fine, yeah, I'll teach you, and put me in the outfit and take my money and give me a false sense of confidence. And I thanked him for that. So that's why I tell that story, is I hope any instructor that happens to see this, if you have a student with a disability that comes to you, if you think you can train them realistically, then please do so. But if you think you cannot, please tell them, because you will not hurt their feelings. That's called being respectful. So back to Shaolin Do and Master John Price. I tell him what happened to me in school, tell him I want to learn how to fight, want to get in shape. I love the man to this day. And he tells me, he says, are you familiar with the phrase, be careful what you ask? And I said, yes, I am. He says, well, you know, your physical therapist, they might have cared that you went home sore. They might have cared that what they ask you to do hurt. I don't. He said, and if you do this right, you're going to go home with, you know, some bruises, you know, maybe a fat lip, things like that. And I was okay with that, because I wanted to learn how to defend myself. I wasn't there just to get in shape, and I wasn't there to be the school mascot. So that was the journey. And that was almost 30 years ago. I work with anyone who wants to train with me. Obviously, due to having cerebral palsy and being almost 55, I do specialize in working with other people who have disabilities. And there's pretty much, after having a 20+ year career in working in the disabled community as a recreational specialist, as a direct care provider, as a case manager, I ran my own nonprofit organization for a little while. There's pretty much not any disability that I haven't had experience working with or training in some way. And I've had a lot of wonderful successes and things like that. But I will work with anyone, whether they have a disability or not. And I've had several able-bodied clients as well. When I first started Sholin Arts, I was able to work with a lot of people in the disabled community and a lot of various day programs in the disabled community here in Louisville. I had one group that was coming for a very consistent amount of time, and it was a pretty solid group, about 4 or 5 people, and they were really enjoying things. And I mean, they had their own uniforms and their own class time, and it was really beautiful. One day, one class, you know, as is the nature for any of you watching who have worked in the disabled community, you understand the staffing issues happen, and sometimes we have to improvise and do things on the fly, and we take people to do activities that they wouldn't necessarily always go to, because that's what we had to do. Well, such was the case with one person that came to Shaolin Arts class one day, this particular person, because I've always said, you know, no one is not welcome. If you want to come to my class, or if you come to my class, if you want to participate, you are welcome to participate. Well, sure enough, this person participated for the full hour. To be fair, my Shaolin Arts classes, regardless of the person's ability, I do try to challenge them. And this person, who just came because they needed to, had a blast. They participated for the entire class. They had a great time. They were all smiles. But much to my happiness, I got a big old hug at the end of class. And these staff that brought them, they came to me and they said, "How did you do that?" And I was confused on how did I do what? And they proceeded to tell me that this particular person, that they came to class and had such a great time and worked so hard and was out of breath and sweaty and laughing and having a great time, that when they were at their day program, this person was very sedentary. They did not want to do anything that involved physical activity, that didn't involve running around, that involved exercising or anything like that. And I was amazed, and so were they. Well, this person came back to class and became not only a regular student, but a great success story with what they were able to do as far as weight loss.
This is a good pull-up bar. You can get this at any Walmart for 20 bucks. Goes in your doorway, no mounting hardware. And I like to do 3 different types of pull-ups. First, you've got your traditional pull-up. Some call this wide, but I don't think it's wide because I'm almost naturally short width apart. What you want to do is you always start from the dead hang. Again, tighten up like you're doing a plank or a push-up. Pull chin over the bar, down to a dead hang.
I think people should not sell themselves short. I hear a lot of people, whether you're in the disabled community, whether you're a little bit older, whether you've been sedentary for a little while, whether you're, whatever holds you back, even if it's a lack of motivation, you just don't feel it, you're not a gym person, never discredit martial arts training. Never discredit simple body weight training, things low impact like walking. Don't underestimate the effectiveness or the importance of some type of mental activity like meditation, walking, even if it's low impact. I would encourage people, if you've been reluctant to start some sort of new diet, some sort of new lifestyle, some sort of new regimen, seek out trainings like Sholin Arts that offer all over approach, that offer something that is customized to you. Find you a trainer that is going to talk to you, that's going to know what motivates you, that's going to know what you want to do, that's not going to just lump you in with 20 or 30 other people and all of you do the same thing all the time. Because once you find something that you enjoy, that's the key. I think that's the key thing to Sholin Arts' success, is that I do try to keep things fresh and I do try to keep things alive and breathing. And I think that's the key thing I want people to take away from, especially Chinese martial arts like Xing Yi and Bagua, which is what I currently focus on, and Tai Chi and things like kettlebell training and all that. Is these things are effective ways to keep us moving, to keep us alive, and to keep us functional, and to help us celebrate this chance to be alive and breathing.